Welcome back to Prolific Creation Studios. My name is Lucas Umbrano, and today I'm going to be your instructor. Have you ever gotten to the point where you're trying to learn a new song, but you just don't know what steps to take? Today, we're going to be going over every single step that you can use and every tool that you can use when you approach a new song. Now, please keep in mind that even though we're going to be showing this on piano, this can be used for any other type of musical outlet or instrument when you are trying to learn a new song. So, without further ado, let's jump into it. All right. So, first things first, whenever you're trying to play a new song, whenever you're approaching a new song, the most easiest thing that we can do to prepare ourselves and our minds and our ears is simply just listen to the song. Now, listening to the song, we want to listen to it multiple times. We want to make sure that it's the exact style that we're wanting to play or the exact arrangement. Easiest way that you can do that is, of course, just type in the title of the song that you're looking for or wanting to play, and of course, whoever it's by, if it's covered by somebody else or if you're trying to look for a specific arrangement. Now, easiest way to do that is just do it on YouTube, Safari, Google, whatever search engine you have. Type it in and try to see if you can find that specific song either on those platforms or maybe on Spotify, Pandora, whatever you listen to that song on, or wherever you even found that song is going to be the easiest place to find it. Next, you want to pay attention to the melody, the harmony, and rhythm. This will help you familiarize yourself with the overall structure and mood of the piece. Again, especially if this is a specific arrangement that you're looking for or wanting to play, it's easier just to go to the source, right? So go back to that person that played it or those group of people that played it and just listen to their version. And again, notice the highs and lows and everything that they're doing that you want to translate as you're playing. Next is once you've found that song, try to see if you can find the sheet music for it. More often than not, that specific artist, if it's a specific arrangement or feature, will actually have the sheet music either on their store or a lot of times you can easily use music notes or just searching it in Google and something should pop up. You want to go through it to understand the key signature, time signature, and overall structure of the song. So, a lot of times when someone else is arranging a song or a cover of a song, they will add their own little twists into it, obviously to make it their own. So if you're trying to replicate that, look through the songs and see where they put it on. Look through that sheet music and okay, where did they add those nuances that made it unique to themselves that you want to replicate? Next is you want to break it down. So divide the song into smaller sections. The easiest way that I can recommend doing this is typically measure by measure or line by line. You want to break it into smaller, manageable pieces, right? So if you're almost like if you're trying to eat a steak, you're not going to try to eat the whole thing in one big gulp, right? No, you want to take piece by piece, cut it into smaller pieces where it's easy for you to chew and break it down. And of course, with the analogy, don't try to bite off more than what you can chew. So break it into smaller pieces that are manageable for you and where you can trick your mind into saying, okay, if I can do this small piece, then I know that I got it and continue to build on from there. So focus on one section at a time rather than trying to tackle the entire piece at once, and this can make the learning process so much more manageable. Next tip is practice your hands separately. So I know it's really easy for us to come to a new song and want to just jump right into it and play both hands at the same time. But hold your horses, press the brakes a little bit. You want to make sure that you practice each hand separately. Now this may not apply to everyone, but for most people, just playing the right hand or the left hand first, right? Typically you want to start with whatever hand starts off the melody. So wherever you hear that melody predominantly or the most is the hand you want to practice the most because then you start to get to more of that sense of accomplishment of, okay, this is the song that I'm trying to play, this is what I'm hearing, and this is what I'm playing now. And so it's a little bit more of encouragement to play the hand that carries that melody within that arrangement or song. So practice whatever hand that is, and then once you feel like you've got it, slowly incorporate your other hand. And again, this still goes into the same idea of, okay, breaking it into smaller pieces. So an example would be, let's say if you're breaking it down measure by measure, right? So let's say measure one, you're practicing the right hand, that's the one that's carrying the melody. Okay, you feel like you've got it, then slowly incorporate that left hand. Then you got a whole measure down with both hands and just keep going from there. Measure two, again, let's say it's the right hand that's carrying the melody. Got that down, slowly incorporate the left hand, boom, you got measure 2 down, and of course, continue to build on until you got the rest of the song. So work on each hand separately to master the individual parts before attempting to play them together. This is particularly helpful for challenging passages. Next, slow practice. All right. So, slow practice, again, going back into, I know that it's super easy, especially if it's a song that we really love, we really enjoy hearing, and now we want to play it, that we just want to jump into it and play it at the speed that we hear it. But in this case, we don't want to take that approach as we are learning a new piece. We want to take it slow and piece by piece. Okay. Now, few things on why we would do this. First, we don't want to get frustrated when it's not coming out the way that we want it to come out. Um, Again, what we hear on the radio sometimes, what we hear that's being played may not always be exactly the same as it is on the sheet music. So, taking the time to slow down, hear what it is that you actually have on the sheet music as you're playing, and see, okay, does that truly translate to what I'm hearing when the person that made the piece actually plays it? And from there, you can kind of break it down and really see, okay, what do I need to add? What do I need to take away? And of course, if you're trying to make it your own, what nuances can you add to this piece of music? So practice at a slower tempo initially, and this allows you to focus on accuracy, fingerings, and expression. So as you become more comfortable, of course, gradually increase the tempo. But reminder, don't just try to play at a super high tempo that it just ends up frustrating you and wanting to step away. Next tip is use a metronome. So you'll see my little metronome here up top. Now, typically what I'll do is that when I'm playing a piece, especially for a duet, where it's not just me playing it now, but it's others playing it, I will use a metronome to make sure that no matter what, I'm staying on tempo. And a great way to do that is to either get a little metronome like this, or you can find a whole bunch of applications on your phone, tablet, or whatever it is that you use to find a simple metronome. And most of them are free, and of course, once you download that, just put the BPMs that you're wanting to go, or the beats per minute that you're wanting to go at, and just take it from there. Now, keep in mind that for in this case, if you are playing it as a duet with somebody, make sure that you come into an agreement with whoever you're playing with at what speed you want to go to. Now, even if you're not playing this as a duet, it's a good thing to use. It's a good tool to use to make sure that you're keeping on time from the beginning of the song all the way to the end. Of course, unless your piece calls for some parts to be slower or some parts to be faster. Next exercise is focus on dynamics and expressions. So, what typically makes a piece unique is usually the dynamics and expressions that a musician will add into their piece to make it sound different. Especially if someone is using a cover letter, a cover song, or a different arrangement of a song, you want to make sure that, okay, what is it that they've added to make it unique, and how can you make sure that you translate that into your playing? So pay attention to dynamics. That includes the loudness and softness and expression markings in the actual sheet music. These elements all contribute to the overall musicality of the piece. Next tip is memorization. Now, naturally, as you continue to do something over and over and over again, you begin to slowly memorize it. Now, you can make this a little bit more purposeful to where when you are playing or practicing a new piece, instead of relying completely on the sheet music, you can rely on your memory. So, again, being purposeful, and whether that be a whole measure, a whole line, a few lines, or even a whole page or pages, be purposeful in memorizing certain pieces. I highly recommend doing this, especially if it's a piece that has a lot of repeated measures, repeated lines, or just repeated phrases. If it's something that you know that you've got down, memorize it. That way, when you're going through, you can just rely on your memorization. And then when you get to the piece that is not memorized, you can easily just look to that sheet music. So, as you become more comfortable with each section, try to memorize the piece, and this will deepen your understanding of the music and enhance your performance. Next tip is playing along with the recordings. Now, if you're using a cover that you found that you've liked, play along with the actual recording. Are you matching what it is that you've heard and what it is that you like about a certain cover or arrangement or piece of music, right? So as you're playing along, you can really tell, okay, do I need to slow down? Do I need to speed up? Do I need to play louder or even softer? So doing this will get you to play how it is that what you've heard is actually translating into what you're playing. So playing along with the recordings of the song to get a sense of how it should sound in a complete performance. This can also help you pick up on nuances and interpretive elements. Next exercise is seek guidance. There's going to come to a point where you may just not be understanding what it is that is expected from you from that sheet music. Now, easiest way you can do this is if you have a piano teacher or a music teacher at all, is just seeking help from your teacher or other musicians. And maybe even if the person that arranged the song is still alive, hey, even reaching out or even going to a community that follows that same person. Hey, has anybody played this song? Can anybody help me out on whatever it is that you're having trouble with? And more often than not, in the music community with other musicians, there are people that are always willing to help and always willing to lend you a helping hand and any other tips or advice. So, if you encounter challenges, sections, or have questions about interpretation, consider seeking guidance from a music teacher or even online tutorials. They can provide valuable insights and tips. And last tip is just be patient and persistent. Remember, practice makes progress, which makes perfect, right? So, as you continue to practice, just be persistent with it. I can guarantee you that there's going to be a time where there may be a section in the song that you just can't get down. Don't give up. Keep going and keep practicing. Just be persistent with it. Again, use any of the tips that we went over today to just really help you with whatever section it is that you're having trouble with. Now, these are all tips and advice on how you can approach a new song, whether that be on piano, vocals, guitar, or any other instrument. You can find all their tips and tricks on our website at prolificcreations.org. I'll also be posting a link down below to where you can easily find it and click on it. And it is a free download, so don't forget to like and subscribe.